and welcome back to the Summoner's Guide to Final Fantasy XIV. This episode, we are going to be playing the last of the 4-player dungeons in patch 2.2, Halatali Hard Mode. This is another quick and easy dungeon, with a few interesting mechanics to worry about. In this version of Halatali, instead of trying to clear out the monsters that have taken over the place, as we did the first time through, now Halatali has been reclaimed as an arena for gladiatorial combat. And so now we are basically going to be fighting challenges that have been set up for us to conquer. We're going to be going through most of the same sections as we did in the first, in our first run through Halatali, just in a slightly different order. Those large spiked balls that are dropping down will hurt you if you are underneath, but they will also hurt any enemies that are underneath. So some tanks will decide to try to get a large group of enemies and tank them from right underneath the spiked ball to do a little bit of extra damage. Again, the ads are really not much to worry about, though there are a lot of wandering enemies like these basilisks. That much to talk about in this dungeon. This, I think, is actually the easiest of the three 2.2 dungeons, or at least it was back when 2.2 first came out. Break Blocks is the quickest because it has the best speedrunning strategy, but this one is just very simple. Alright, so our friend, the healer, is standing right underneath the spiked ball. Okay, it doesn't look like it does much damage, but it does inflict vulnerability up, which means they'll take more damage. So again, it's a good idea to tank your enemies there. Not a good idea to stand under there. Here we go. Now the tank is tanking them underneath the spiked ball. Gladiators will guard the gates and not let you through until you've defeated all the requisite number of enemies. in the previous stage. Alright, so this boss is another Cyclops-style boss, not unlike the coin counter in Oran Vale. You'll notice that there is a mammoth running around the room that is tethered to a control panel. You'll also notice he's going to use the same sort of attacks. Oh, that sucked. Alright. When he uses that 100-ton swing, or 1,000-ton swing, I need to activate the panel, then get into the AoE field generated by the mammoth. Otherwise, you're going to take a lot of damage. Just like the coin counter when he uses a flower attack, stay out of his line of sight. See, look, most of the mechanics in this fight are actually very similar to the coin counter. So 100-ton swing, get out. Remember, swipe is a cone in front of him. Swing is a 360 degree around him. And there you have it. Very simple. The mechanics are almost identical to that of coin counter. The only real difference is that 1,000-ton swing attack, which again, whenever you see it come up, activate the mammoth's panel, then get into its AoE. Talk to the trainer when you're done with the boss. You'll teleport back to the beginning of the dungeon and be positioned to the door to the next stage. Just like the first stage, your main concern is going to be killing all the requisite number of enemies, specifically these caged beasts. You will need to do that before you will be able to proceed to the second boss. So the first room are these corals. They get progressively stronger the more of them are released. Once you've defeated all 4 of them, you'll be able to head to the next section. But again, they release slowly over time, so you're not going to be able to pull all of them at once. These are not caged beasts, so they don't actually count toward your objective, but of course they're in your way, so you will need to kill them. Now, while I'm worrying about this, I will make a comment that just from my observation of playing through all these level 50 dungeons, I'm gaining a lot of levels on my character outside of the dungeon. Outside of the dungeon, my character is currently at level 55. But here's the catch, and I may have mentioned this in an earlier video. You don't actually start. You don't actually gain access to your level 50 plus job quests until you clear all of the 2.55 story and begin the Heavensward story. So even though I'm at level 55, I do not have my level 52 ability or my level 54 ability, because I need to complete those quests to earn them. So I'm a level 55 character with only having level 50 abilities. When you're playing this game through for your first time, my recommendation is don't worry about playing all the level 50 content right away. You can certainly play it all as time goes along, and especially since it'll all show up if you run the level 50 roulette. I am running through every one of these dungeons for recording purposes, and my guess is I'm probably going to get a couple more levels before I even start Heavensward. So I'm going to be very much ahead on level, but not, you know, I'm not going to be progressing the story or gaining any new abilities. My recommendation is don't worry about doing that. I would say stick with the story. Do level 50 dungeons to fill in, especially do them as part of the roulette, because with the level 50 dungeons, all you have to do is unlock them, and they'll show up in the roulette. So you can get a new dungeon to show up in the roulette that you haven't played before merely by unlocking it. So that's really how I would recommend encountering most of the level 50 dungeons, is through the level 50 and 60 roulette. And the same will be true when you start unlocking the level 60 dungeons at the end of Heavensward. Again, because my intent on this is to play them all and record them all, I'm going to get through all of them before I even start Heavensward content, because I'm intending to do them in order of release. So who knows what level I'm going to be at before I actually start Heavensward. But if you're just playing, trying to get yourself through all the content into the level 70 and endgame content, don't concern yourself too much playing all of these dungeons. You'll probably end up playing all of them in time, but don't worry about playing them all at once. Okay, so when you're fighting this boss, position yourself near a shadow orb. When he casts the ability Demon Eye, use the Shadow Orb. That will guard you against the attack. Also, after he uses Demon Eye, he'll have a targetable Tainted Eye that you'll need to kill, as it will use a room-wide AoE that'll keep repeating. Okay, he's using Demon Eye again. Eat a Shadow Orb. Tainted Eye will appear. Bait it. And that's all you need. So yeah, when he casts Demon Eye, eat a Shadow Orb. Early on in the fight, you should establish which character is taking which orb, because there is only enough orbs for each player to eat one. And whenever the Tainted Eye appears, DPS it down as quickly as possible to keep the room-wide AoE from wrecking everybody. Alright, so, talk to the Gladiator, get to the third stage. In the third stage, we're fighting fellow gladiators. Look at all that gear that I'm probably not going to use. Okay, pretty basic pulls here. There are 3 groups of gladiators that you need to defeat. Here we have a conjurer and a gladiator. Great combination, tank and healer. I'm trying to take the conjurer out first so he doesn't heal. There we go. Alright, this is our last group of ads for this dungeon. It occurs to me it's been a very long time since I played this dungeon, and I do not remember the most efficient way to take on this end boss. So we're going to see if we can relearn it together. The last boss is basically made up of a series of gladiators, a team of gladiators that you have to fight. Alright, all of my cooldowns and stuff should be ready by the time that fight starts. Alright, I'm skipping the cutscene just for the sake of getting this fight underway, because I know our party's probably going to be a little anxious to get started. Alright, Silent Moss the Solemn is the one we're going after first, because that's the one they marked. And I believe that's accurate, because that's actually the healer. This guy, the Lionheart, is dangerous, because he'll target a random party member at the beginning of the fight and just completely go after that party member, which in this case happens to be me, so I'm very interested in seeing him dead. Alright, so once all four of those are dead, now the real fight begins. You're going to start with Mumukido the Beholden. He's definitely the more dangerous of the two. You'll cast an ability called Standstill, which will bind two characters, and then he'll use Thal's Fury. One player who is free needs to activate the scepter to release the bind on the other two characters so they can get out of the AoE in time. That's the major mechanic to worry about. Of course, if you take out the character, you take out the boss, then you don't have to worry about the bind anymore. So yeah, that's the way it works. Just make sure that if you're free, you or the other person who is free takes care of the scepter. Otherwise, everybody who's caught in the bind is going to get hit hard. Then, once that character is down, then you just simply take out this guy. He's not hard. And that's all she wrote. So yeah, Halatali, hard mode. Honestly, item levels being what they are, I think this is easier than the normal mode. But it's a lot of fun. I used to enjoy playing this dungeon quite a bit, especially since I would always get Lost City in the Expert Roulette back in the day, and even though Lost City is one of my favorite dungeons, I did like getting other dungeons every so often. Alright, so that is it for the 2.2 dungeons. There are going to be a couple of trials, one of which I'm very close to unlocking here. So those will be our next videos, and then we will get into the 2.3 content. So until then, have a wonderful day.